Hello, welcome on down. It's Wids TV. We're back again, and a bit of a sombre episode this week, but one that we definitely had to do and get in. The untimely retirement this week, of course, of Graham Crack Riley, who's obviously alongside me. A huge respected player at the club for many years. Former captain, former president, Lancashire Cup winner, and just all round legend, really, mate. So. My first question to you, mate, obviously I was in the change room on Saturday when you let everyone know. A very emotional moment, obviously, for yourself and for a lot of the players who were there, mate. I think the first question, mate, is why have we chosen now to hang them boots up finally?
I think, in all honesty, Dan, it's slowly but surely been coming. I'd thought about it for a while, and when I've been playing, I do suffer. I have some breathing problems, which obviously, that doesn't help. I can walk, I can cycle, and I'm fantastic. But as you know, third team rugby, it's still competitive. It's a contact sport, and it's tough.
Yeah, especially that game on Saturday, that was tough.
Absolutely. And in all honesty, I'd thought about it for a while. And I just said to myself, the Friday nights, the nerves, they're still there. The Friday nights, the Saturday mornings, and I thought, if I get on today, which thankfully I did, and I'm ever so grateful over the many years that when I do get on, I knew what I was going to do. And as you alluded to a few minutes ago, Dan, I didn't know how I'd react, and I reacted the way I did, but it was just a little bit uncontrollable, and I made that announcement, and came into the clubhouse. I went home an hour later. I'd not told my wife. She was out watching rugby, two of my lads play. I'd not told anybody, my sons, my wife, and as I say, I told my wife, but the word that kept coming back to me was reality. Besides the things I've just mentioned, I'm 70 years of age, and you say no regrets, and I will have times where I'll be thinking, God, I'm so jealous of any player, whether they've won or lost. But the reality is, I'm 70 years of age, and it's the right decision. And if I can just add two little things to that, if you don't mind. I saw it was Owen Morgan, actually, when he retired recently from cricket, and he used two words, and which I've heard before, and he just said, you know
when it's time.
And I knew. And then just to finish on that little side of it, 2 nights ago, Tuesday night when we were training, Mike Geraghty and Josh Payton come along and said, "Oh, Crack, you finished." And he said, "But why?" And I said, "Oh, listen, lads." And I said, tongue in cheek, I said, "Listen, I might not, I hope I'm still around, but I might not be around when you are approaching 70, but I'll ask the same question to you,
Let's see what they like it.
Yeah, but coming back to the three words there is reality, and and I know, I just know, mate, and it is the right decision. Yeah.
Fair enough. Just something that I just picked up on there that's not on my questions is, like, you mentioned about the nerves and stuff like that. Someone with the experience, you must have played thousands of games in your career. You still got the nerves.
It's something that I probably always had them. And coming to a weekend and Fridays, I'm awful. And Saturday morning when I wake up, say I wake up at whatever time, 7 o'clock Saturday morning, and it's a 3 o'clock kickoff. Those 8 hours seem like 3 days.
Yeah.
It's awful. Yeah. And it's awful. And yet people might say being nervous is a good thing and one thing and another, but having had that feeling for all them years, again, somewhere in the decision, that's playing a part as well. But I keep coming back, forgive me for saying it one more time, reality. I've no regrets, and it's the right decision.
No, fair enough, mate, fair enough.
No problem.
Just going back there, mate, to the start of your career, we'll go through it all. When did you first come down here, mate, and play at the Leeds?
I came here, Dan. I went to, as it was then, Bankfield School round the corner in Liverpool Road. And at the time then, I think amongst Bankfield and certainly Fisher Moor, definitely, there was an annual game at the end of the season between, Bankfield school team, Fisher Moor school team, and it was an annual game against the Colts. And obviously the intention was, if lads from the schools liked it, they would try and entice you to the club. And in my case, that was 1968. And it was a good decision. and here we are today, 54 years later, talking about,
Some career.
It's all, no, thank you. It's all good, mate.
So when was you step into the first team or the open age then? Was that around the similar time?
I think probably in early 69. And then I played, my first game was in the November 1969. We played Macclesfield. I've still got the cutting. We drew 6-all. That was my first game when I was...
Only a year later, yeah.
When I was 17. I'd started off in the Colts, and again, it was a big help to me in the Colts because a number of Bankfield lads came, which was a big help, and we had a great Colts team. Dare I say it? Everybody thinks they've got the best Colts team, and we had a good team, and we had a good 15-a-side team and a good sevens team, and I still see a lot of those lads as of today, and known them a lifetime. And also at the time, Dan, can I just add, if you don't mind, that at Bankfield School and Fisher Moor School, which was beneficial to the Wids, there were teachers there in both schools that were members here. We had Ray Heapy, Alf Horton. I know Fisher Moor had Mike Ryan, Brian McDermott. Big help. And I've no doubt hundreds and hundreds of lads from the two, schools and other schools have made the same decision as I, and we're here anyway to talk about it, which is great.
So through that time, obviously, hundreds or maybe thousands of games that you've played for the club. What were some of the most memorable moments or the famous games that you played in?
If I may, just pick out two games, and they were in the same year actually. They were in 1976. I was 24 years of age. We were fortunate enough, the first team, to go through to the Lancashire Cup final at Waterloo versus West Park, which was phenomenal. And again, I'm only 24, and and it was in the days, and forgive me for saying this, but it was in the days when the Lancashire Cup was taken really, really seriously. You were in the hat. And ourselves and West Park, probably not the fancied teams to get to the final, but I know we beat Orrell in the quarter-final out here. And then again, in those days, you played on neutral grounds in the semi-final. Right. And we played at Orrell, Edgehall Road, at Orrell, against Fylde. Famous Billy Beaumont turned out for Fylde. And we won 14-9 in the semi-final. Incredible. Can't put it into words. Then in the other half of the draw was West Park, who again, and I think they beat Waterloo in that side of the draw. And again, so it culminated in ourselves and in West Park playing in the final at Waterloo.
That was 1960.
That was 1976. And we beat West Park 21-9. And again, for ourselves and for the club, it was a great day. It was a famous day. And then if I can just add, then through a result of that, the following season, which was but still in 76, 77, by winning the Lancashire Cup, we qualified for the John Player Cup. And again, you're in the hat, and it's all new to us. And we drew Northampton away.
Oh, yeah.
We drew Northampton away at Franklin's Gardens. And again, at the time, I think you knew Northampton were a big side and you were playing at a famous ground, but it's only in the latter years, or now even, when, you know, you don't like, but when Franklin's Gardens comes on the telly, you say, I've been there. I've been there. And we lost 21-10. And again, if I can mention it, you know, I played against a scrum half who was at the time, his name was Jacko Page, who was an England scrum half. But again, I was only 24, and it's only in later life you realise who you're playing against. But again, to say that, you know, we didn't let ourselves down was an understatement. It was fantastic. So those two games in 76, 46 years ago, I'll never ever forget.
I'm sure like everyone else who played, and obviously today, you know, I only seen the programme for that, I think it was this weekend just gone.
Yeah.
That programme sort of research, I think Josh Kenyon brought it in.
He did, like that, and I could tell you a story about that. I could tell you a story about it. Yeah, only if you wanted to hear it, I could tell you the story.
Yeah, go on, mate.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I think I lost the programme, and then not long ago, we were in the Lancashire Cup final, the Wids at Wigan against Preston. And an old tutor of Josh Kenyon had a programme, Northampton and Widnes. And Josh was telling me, and I said, I don't believe you. He said, Crack, he said, you can either have it or give it the club. And a very long story, I know the club have got one downstairs in the room.
That's what I was looking at. Yeah.
That's right. Anyhow, I said, you're joking. Anyhow, he said to me one training night, not long ago, he said, I forgot the programme, Crack. And his mother was dropping him off, Dinah. And she said, I'll drop it through your letterbox, Crack. I said, well, we're number 40. We're number 40 in the lay-by Birchfield Road. Anyhow, I got home from training and it wasn't there. I thought, well, I'll give it till the next morning. Wasn't there. And I thought, well, I better ring him, just in case. Put it through the wrong letterbox. So I rang him and I said this. I said, forgive me for ringing you, George. He said, Crack, I'm mortified. I said, what? Hang on. I said, are you all right on the phone? He said, I'm mortified, Crack. The girlfriend's threw it out. In some rubbish, she threw it out. I said, listen, pal. I said, don't worry about that. It's only a programme. Blah, 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 blah. And I put his mind at rest. Then I don't know how long later, he rang me back and he said, I've got you one. And he went on eBay, and I've got the eBay text. And somebody from Northampton was selling programmes from 1976. Wow. And what I did at the time, going back to the training night, I'd just give him a tenner for his troubles.
Right, and use that.
Not a problem. So and it cost him with postage about £5.37.
So he owes you a bit of change then.
He does. I know where he lives.
I didn't even go through the bin.
I know where he lived. And so, but the culmination is I've now got the programme, and
so you got one.
It all ended very happily. Yeah, so I'm delighted.
Well,
but good on Josh. So, but going back to those two games, Dan, they
understand
mega memories.
So we're talking about go from games, mate, onto players, mate. Who's sort of the toughest players you've played with or against, or the best players you've played with? You mentioned that Anna there that played for England, so anyone else that springs to mind?
Well, they do, and if you don't mind me saying, there were two other players. Again, it's only in, I keep saying the same things, I'm sorry, but it's later life that you think of them, you know. Again, in those days, they were pre-leagues, you know, before leagues. And, you know, we used to play a side called Walsall. And again, I played against the scrum half at the time, Jan Webster, who was an England scrum half. And again, for me, looking back, that's great. And also, again, which doesn't happen now, it tends not to happen, touring. You know, we used to go on tour. We used to go to South Wales, we used to go to Newcastle, and I knew the teams anyway, but our 3-game tour of South Wales, and I kid you not, was Pontypridd, Maesteg and Glamorgan Wanderers, right? And I kid you not. And again, the Maesteg game, I played against a chap, his name was Ray Chico Hopkins, who played for Wales. And I could tell, and rest assured from if you read anything about him, he'd have played a lot more games for Wales except for one person, and that was Gareth Edwards. So just those three players, Jan Webster, Ray Chico Hopkins and Jacko Page, as I mentioned earlier, they were real highlights for me. And I'm going to say, I didn't at the time, I don't think, at 24 years of age. I don't think I thought, oh, I'm pitting my wits against them. You were just a young lad, you know. Rugby, you just did your best. And as I say, but... I
heard your wrong names around the few of them, mate.
Oh, no, that's another fiver, yeah. No, but as regards opposition, and then I was asked not long ago, and I think a few people were, about your best 15 within the club, and it might be I can't help but refer back to that 1976 cup winning team, Dan. It was just the right year, the right competition, the coming together. Those lads who were played with, captained by Peter Barrow, I'd stake my life on them, and again, a lot of them are still knocking about.
It's amazing how many of them still coming in.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I'm proud of those games, and I'm proud of certainly all the lads in that team, and great memory for me, great memory personally as well.
Mate, spot on.
Not a problem.
So obviously, mate, former president, you've done your presidency here as well.
I did.
You've been the captain.
I did.
The first team. What's next for Crack Riley going forward?
Well, can I just give a mention to one person when I was club captain, if you don't mind? And sadly he's no longer with us, but it was a chap called Ron Hankin, and he happened to be my president the 2 years I was club captain, and unbelievably generous man. I'd come in after the game and I could be in a round with, I don't know, 6 lads, and Crack, what are you having? I said, Ron, I'm in a round. What are they having? And he was. I needed to mention Ron Hankin. He was a great for me, a great person. And I was dead fortunate in 2009-10 to be asked to be president in the club's Golden Jubilee year, and again, I will never forget that honour, and something I'm very, very proud of.
As you should be, mate, as you should be.
No. Again, only 2 little stories. Can I squeeze them in?
You can, mate, yeah.
And they're only club dinners, which are fantastic. And I've got a great friend at Lee Rugby Union who used to come a lot of the club dinners a lifetime ago. Mick Graney, and he's a great bloke. I know his family, I know his wife, and Mick came on the club dinner on the Friday night, and as you can imagine, we got in a bit of a state, and he slept over at our house. I think we went snooker the next day when it was the snooker centre in Widnes, and he got home Saturday night, and when I spoke to him the next morning on the Sunday, I said, "Everything all right, Mick?" He said, "Aye, pal, certainly." He said, "I just told the wife it was a late bar." And that was him, but it was fantastic. And then the other one that just comes to mind, and if I can give a mention to a great friend of mine, Les Whitfield, who, again, I'm so glad he made that journey from Fishermore as I made my journey from Bankfield. We may not have met, but just what sums our friendship up is that, again, a long time ago, one of the lads who I saw Saturday, actually, Chris Whitfield, I come in the club one time and he said, "All right, Crack," he said, "Where's the wife?" And I said, "She's at home, Chris." So I'm at the bar, and he said, "Where's the wife?" And I thought, is he going a bit? I've just said that. I said, "Chris," I said, "she's at home, she's doing a bit of tea. I'm having a couple of pints and I'm going home for a nice tea. I'll ask you one more time, where's the wife?" And he meant Les. And he meant Les Whitfield. And that sums our friendship up. And Yeah.
Iconic duo.
Absolutely.
Mate, we'll wrap it up then. So obviously, you know, we've seen the way that you speak here, mate, and you know, you're so respected by everyone at the club. And
thank you.
Just to thank you from me and all the lads and probably, you know, generations of players and coaches who you've worked with, mate.
No problem.
As a fantastic servant to the club.
No, that's very.
Everything you've done, mate. And I've always, you know, since I've been up here, mate, I've known you, and just an absolute legend, mate. There's not
very.
If there's someone I'll turn to, or I'll go to.
No, I'm overwhelmed by your words then, Dan. I thank you. I'm overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed since last Saturday of messages and texts that I've received from Widnes to Lee to Waterloo to New Zealand, and I mean that, New Zealand. I'm overwhelmed, and I can't thank people enough. You know, yeah, you don't think you're going to get emotional, but it's overwhelming, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart to everybody. I really, really do.
Spot on, mate. All the best.
Thank you very much, Dan. Thank you.
For it.
You're more than welcome. Thank you.